It's January 2026 on the edge of Lake Michigan. The temperature is below zero, and less than a mile away, engineers are pouring $850 million into a football stadium that's smaller than the one it replaces. Northwestern University is building a 35,000-seat stadium, a price tag that makes it the most expensive college football stadium ever built. On paper, that sounds counterintuitive. Fewer seats, less capacity, more money. But this isn't a downgrade. It's a deliberate bet on the next level of college sports. So how do you build a stadium when capacity isn't the goal anymore? Intensity is. The days of giant concrete bowls are over. For a century, college stadiums had one goal: cram in as many people as possible. More bodies meant more noise, more money, and more tradition. But in 2026, that playbook is dead. Think about it. You can watch the game in perfect 4K from your couch. The beer costs $4 instead of $14, the bathroom is clean, and you don't have to climb 80 rows of stairs. Suddenly, that cold metal bench 200 feet from the field isn't just uncomfortable, it's unsellable. That's exactly the problem Ryan Field is solving. They're not trying to pack in the masses. They're building for intensity, intimacy, and survival in the brutal new economy of college sports. From the cantilevered steel decks that bring fans closer to the action, to the canopy engineered to reflect and trap sound, every feature is a direct answer to that challenge. And here's why that matters more than ever. Post-NIL, universities can't rely on 7 Saturdays a year to pay the bills. Stadiums now have to work 365 days, hosting concerts, events, and even professional women's soccer. And all of it has to happen without turning the surrounding neighborhood into a nightmare for residents or city officials. It's a massive gamble. Build it too small, it fails. Build it too big, you go broke. And if you get the design wrong, all that noise bleeds right into million-dollar homes. It's a tightrope walk at nearly $1 billion. So where exactly are they pulling this off? And what makes this location so challenging? Here's where things get interesting. You know Central Street in Evanston, right by Lake Michigan? That's where the old Ryan Field stood since 1926. A classic concrete bowl that held 47,130 fans. Back then, bigger was better. Fans sat far from the field, and all the noise and lights often spilled straight into the neighborhood. Now, just a few meters away, the new Ryan Field is being built. It has 35,000 seats, which is fewer than the old stadium. But every seat has a backrest and is stacked closer together so fans feel right in the action. The field itself has been lowered 21 feet, roughly the height of a 2-story building, which not only brings the crowd closer, but also gives room for wider plazas around the stadium. And as we previously mentioned, the cost of this new stadium is $850 million, all privately funded. Demolition of the old stadium and site excavation are complete, and by late 2025, the new stadium's steel frame had topped out, with ongoing construction continuing toward a fall 2026 opening. But this isn't just about football. The stadium has premium clubs, suites, and spaces for concerts or community events, making it useful all year round. From the angle of the canopy, to the concourse layout, to the way the seats are arranged, every detail is designed to make fans feel closer to the game while keeping the neighborhood happy. But here's the real question. If you're packing 35,000 people into such a tight footprint, how do you actually make it work? How do you keep sightlines clear, sound controlled, and crowds comfortable in a space this compact? Before we answer that question, let's see how traditional stadiums used to work. Most college stadiums are built like giant soup bowls. To get more capacity, you just push upper rows further and further back. You get the seats, sure, but you lose the view. And you lose the energy. Ryan Field throws that whole playbook out the window. The footprint here is so tight they couldn't build outward. They stack the seats vertically using massive steel cantilevers. Think of it like a chest of drawers pulled open. Each deck literally hovers over the one below it, hanging back from the structure. No support columns, no obstructed views, nothing between you and the field. Every seat is now within 136 feet of the sideline. That creates this compact, intense wall of noise that you just don't get in a traditional bowl. And sitting above all of that is the canopy. It's a heavy and curved acoustic shield designed to do two things at once: trap crowd noise and reflect it back onto the field for maximum home field advantage, while simultaneously blocking low-frequency rumble from leaking into those million-dollar homes next door. The bowl itself is steep, which makes the stadium feel much larger than 35,000 seats, and the layout follows universal design. That means wheelchair seating isn't shoved into some awkward back corner, it is distributed across every price tier. The ramps, elevators, and pathways are engineered for flow, making the building feel smarter, not just newer. But designing something this complex on paper is one thing. Actually building it is where things get wild. So how do you construct hanging steel decks in freezing temperatures on a site with zero extra room? The new Ryan Field is actually being built in 3 precise phases. Let's go through all of them. Phase 1 is the excavation. To lower the field 21 feet, crews removed 300,000 cubic yards of clay and soil through narrow Evanston streets. Now, usually you just line up trucks and go, but here they had to route them through narrow Evanston streets, dodging school zones and rush hour traffic. Then came Phase 2, the safeguards. Digging a hole that deep right next to houses is risky. So engineers installed 425 soil anchors to hold the earth back. But the coolest part was the silence. Around the site they set up solar-powered seismographs that constantly measured vibration. If a reading even got close to the danger level, work stopped instantly. The goal was to move mountains without the neighbors feeling it. Finally, Phase 3, the steel ballet. Once the hole was secured, the steel had to go up. But remember, there's zero extra space on this site, no place to store materials. So a massive crawler crane lifts the cantilever trusses directly off the delivery trucks the moment they arrive. It's called just-in-time delivery. By January 2026, the skin is already taking shape. The aluminum facade and that heavy acoustic canopy are locked in. It's a split-second choreography that cuts waste, cuts costs, and keeps the project moving without a single inch of spare room. But here's the thing. All that means nothing if you can't actually build it. And that's where the real battle began, not with steel and concrete, but with lawsuits and neighbors. From day one, this project was a battlefield. A local group, the Most Livable City Association, saw the stadium as a commercial Trojan horse. They sued the city. They fought tooth and nail over zoning laws just to stop the university from hosting 6 concerts a year. While 3 of the 4 lawsuits got dismissed in 2024, the legal threat forced the construction crews to walk on eggshells, monitoring every single vibration to avoid getting shut down. But just when the legal smoke cleared, another twist hit this January. Chicago Stars FC, a professional women's soccer team, applied to play more than a dozen matches a year at Ryan Field. This suddenly added more noise, traffic, and light concerns, splitting the community. Data from a 2040 strategy group poll showed 82% support citywide, but nearby residents voiced sharp opposition, calling it a personal neighborhood nightmare. And on top of the political drama, the physical stakes are insane. Remember, they're digging a 2-story hole and hanging massive steel decks inches away from property lines. If they mess up the engineering, the ground settles and houses crack. If they mess up the schedule, an $850 million private investment goes underwater. In a project like this, you can't afford a single mistake, political or structural. So after surviving all the lawsuits, all the engineering challenges, all the billion-dollar risk, what does this thing actually deliver? What changes when it opens? For the fans, it completely changes the physics of watching a game. Because of that steep vertical stacking and the acoustic roof, the energy doesn't escape into the sky. It hits you, feels smaller, sure, but it feels meaner, louder, and more alive. For the neighborhood, it stops being a ghost town. See, old stadiums sit empty and silent for 350 days a year. This thing is a 365-day machine. Between the concerts, the pro soccer matches, and the events, it's designed to be a part of the city's daily life, not just a concrete island that wakes up 7 Saturdays a year. But the real shift here is economics. At $850 million for only 35,000 seats, the math works out to nearly $25,000 per seat. That is insane. But that's exactly the point. Think of Ryan Field as the iPhone Pro of stadiums. It's smaller and way more expensive than the cheap plastic flip phone stadiums of the past, but it does infinitely more. It proves that in 2026 you don't need 100,000 cheap seats to make money. You just need the right seats. And Ryan Field isn't just a one-off experiment. Right now, across the country, we're watching a complete transformation of how college stadiums get built. Look at USF in Tampa. They're building a $348.5 million 35,000-seat stadium integrated with student housing and a DJ deck. In Hawaii, they're tearing down the massive 50,000-seat Aloha Stadium to build a smaller 22,500-seat modular venue. From Evanston to Tampa to Honolulu, the lesson is clear. The age of brute size is over. Engineers are shifting to smart, high-intensity designs that fit into cities rather than dominating them. The question now isn't how big a stadium can be, but how intelligently it can serve fans, players, and the city. Ryan Field in 2026 has answered that question first. Now, you tell us, is spending $850 million on a smaller stadium a smart bet or a massive mistake? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to see more megabuild stories, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.